Hey, One Fat Summer, Chapter 18. I made myself invisible for a while, like the shadow, an old trick I picked up as a kid. Adults just want to know you're alive and healthy, so if you go about your business quietly, eat your meals, smile, and always look like you've got something to do that'll keep you out of trouble, nobody notices you much. I stayed out of everybody's way, didn't spend too much time on the toilet, hardly ever spoke unless mom or dad spoke first. And they were so busy with themselves and with Michelle, they hardly talked to me for 3 or 4 days, and then mostly to remind me to wash my hands for dinner. I went to work and came right home, trotting along the county road, looking over my shoulder for Rumson's Chevy. I steered clear of Marino's beach. I didn't call Joni, and every evening after dinner, I weighed myself. That's the heaviest time. When I got down to 176, I danced around the bathroom and popped muscles in the mirror till they were sore. Wonder bar. I knew I'd be under 175 when I woke up. Another 15 pounds and I'd be thin. Well, maybe not thin, but nobody would ever call me fat. I took off my shirt one afternoon at Dr. Kahn's. That was a big thing. I hadn't walked around with my shirt off since I was little. Flesh still hung over my belt, but I felt like Charles Atlas compared to what I used to be, a 196-pound weakling. Michelle and I didn't talk until the middle of the week. Her eyes were red for days. She couldn't look at anybody, and right after dinner she would go straight to her room and listen to her Johnny Race records. All those dumb songs about crying. I felt sorry for her, but enough was enough. She might as well drown in her room if she kept playing those songs. One night I was in my bed reading The Book of Woodcraft by Ernest Thompson Seton, just in case I got trapped on the island again, when Michelle walked in without knocking. Just one question, Bobby. Why did you tell her I was out all night? Why'd you tell her about my job? We had a deal. She sat down on my bed. Did she say you would be helping me? That if you really cared about me, you'd tell her the truth? How'd you know? Because that's why I told her about your job. She leaned over and kissed my forehead. It's okay, don't worry about it. Are you ever going to see Pete again? Of course. How? We'll find a way. Next month you'll be in the dorms. You'll do whatever you want. You better believe it. She smiled for the first time in days. I had a dream that night. I was standing on the high board. There was no water below me, just a net, the kind they use in the circus for trapeze artists. Everybody was yelling at me to jump. Dr. Kahn, Mom and Dad, Pete, Michelle, Willie Rumson, Jim Smith, Mr. Marino, even the man from the grocery store. I was scared. I didn't want to jump, but they kept screaming at me to jump, to show that I was a man. If I didn't jump, I couldn't be a man. I'd be a fag all my life. A rug, a beach ball, a yo-yo. But I couldn't jump. I was too scared. I turned around to walk back the platform. But Joni blocked my way. She was walking out to me on the board. It didn't really look like Joni. Even with her new nose, she was taller and older and her hair was darker, but somehow I knew it was Joni. She was wearing a two-piece bathing suit and she had a bigger bosom than Joni, but I knew it was her. And then she threw her arms around me and squeezed me tight, and suddenly I felt hot and wet, that good, exciting feeling. And then she shoved me off the board. And as I fell, I saw that they dragged the net away, and I was just falling and falling and falling. Naturally, I woke up before I hit anything. You always do. I have dreams like that every so often. I tried to look them up in a book we have about dreams by Sigmund Freud, but all I can figure out is that they have something to do with sex. I really wanted to talk to somebody about it, but Michelle was so busy crying. Mom was busy studying. Joni would have looked down her nose at me. That's a joke, son. I may have tried Dad. He was so quiet and pleasant these days, but he was hardly ever around. He really knew how to make himself invisible. He just disappeared for hours and hours at a time. Tennis, swimming, softball games, golf, going to the lumber yard for special kinds of wood, working in the basement with his carpentry tools, going up on the roof to replace broken shingles. I could tell he just didn't want to talk to anybody. I know he knew about my lawn job because he asked me one morning if I was using his work gloves, and when I said I was, he said he'd get himself another pair. And that was it. He didn't ask me any questions at all. That Friday, Jim Smith came up to me, looked me in the eye for a few seconds, and said, "Buddy, you're either crazy or you got the guts of a burglar." "What do you mean?" "You're still here. Look, this is the last time I'm going to say anything to you. Willie's been drinking all week. He's really getting himself mean. Nobody'll go near him. He's going to come after you like gangbusters." Busters, sorry. "You told me that already, and nothing happened. Look, you got 3 lousy weeks left in this job. Nothing. Quit. You do that and I'll try to head him off." I got the feeling Jim was begging me, not warning me. I just shook my head. But I kept my eyes peeled for Rumsen the rest of the afternoon, and when I trotted home on the county road, I did zigzags just in case he was hiding somewhere in ambush, ready to run me down. Drivers must have thought I was crazy. I wasn't crazy at all. I was rounding the last bend before Marino's Beach when I saw the blue and white Chevy coming fast in the other direction. I ducked behind an old stone farm wall. The Chevy passed without slowing down. I tracked it around the lake. It turned up to Dr. Kahn's. I had to make a decision. I could run for it all the way home, take a chance on getting trapped on the road or in the hill. Or I could go into Marino's Beach and play it by ear from there. If Willie was really hunting me, once he found out I wasn't at Dr. Kahn's, he'd come back down the road slowly. If he wasn't hunting me, he might just be on his way to Lenape Falls, and I'd be standing around Marino's Beach trying to avoid Pete. I was still trying to figure out my next move when I saw the Chevy come tearing out on the county road. I ran all the way to Marino's Beach. "Bob!" It was Joni. She was behind the snack bar counter. When I caught my breath, I said, "What are you doing here?"